Hello and welcome to another battle report. We are playing Ramah Taskforce against Onyx Contact Force, and the mission is highly classified. This is my first attempt at trying to do a video battle report, so bear with me if things are not amazing. I'm still recording this while I'm on a walk, and then I will try to stitch this together with this cute little app for my phone that I found, together with some screenshots, and see if I can create a passable imitation basically of what Robert Shepard is doing with his battle reports. I even tried to recreate the lists. Well, I know my list, but I tried to recreate my opponent's list. I was playing Firas, for those of you who know him. And I specifically asked him not to play Vanilla Combined or Moritz, just because I didn't want to face those. And he was like, okay, then I'm going to play Onyx. And I was like, crap, kind of don't want to face them either, but that's fair. Lucky for me, though, Firas is known to play meme lists, and he brought another one of those as well. We're going to look at this in a moment. But let's look at my list first. I had built a list that, after my recent games with Ramah Taskforce, was trying to arrive at something that would maybe serve as a generalist list. And just see how that list performs in different kinds of missions. So there are some lessons in there that I learned over the past couple games, and it's trying to basically give me as many options as possible, even though it has some limitations. So we see in the first combat group a duo of a Janissary HMG and a Hortlock K1 marksman rifle, mostly because I still want to see how well the K1 performs. I'm still not sure if I want to keep the Janissary HMG or replace it with the Janissary missile launcher as a hard ARO piece. But I haven't painted that one up yet, and so today we're still playing the HMG. And then we have a Nahab, but the boarding shotgun specialist operative. I have been playing the KHD mostly recently, but I realized two things. A, while the KHD can do more classifieds and can kill hackers as well, it's trying to do a lot of things at the same time. I usually use him as a kind of suicide Rambo CC piece because that's what he's really good at. And that means most of the time I don't even get to use the KHD because he dies before that. And I also make him vulnerable to hackers, where the specialist operative is not. And the second thing is that the decharges on the specialist operative give me the option to also be effective against structure models, because the viral CC weapon will let me down in that case, which the KHD does not have. The KHD looks amazing on paper with the emitter, and he is amazing. But like I said, I rarely get to use his guns anyway. And a boarding shotgun in close quarters is often the better choice versus the SMG. And so we have him. And he's also 4 points cheaper, which allows me to bring some other stuff, which is the trusted Gulam core of Zayadan AP Sniper, who is my second ARO piece. And if she survives, she can be a budget HMG as well, with 3 dice, and linked with the obligatory Gulam NCO with smoke grenade launcher, a Gulam hacker, and 2 Nafatun. The Nafatun are there also mostly because I just painted them up, and because they are just as cheap as the Gulam, but a little bit more resilient, and at least when it comes to lieutenants, they can defend themselves better with their flamethrowers. And then we have a Monstrucker, just the cheapest version, with a Nazmat who is there A, for engineering classifieds, B, because a Monstrucker is just always great, and C, because in this group we also have a Rafik, which is kind of a standard piece for me lately, because I am just always happy to have the chance to do a sensor run if I suspect a lot of combo or hidden deployment in the midfield. And it's a fast specialist, and it puts a forward observer in the list, because as you can see, apart from him, there's only one hacker. And for classifieds that are usually hacker / forward observer, it is great to have at least one backup piece for that. So that's my group 1. And in group 2, we have also kind of a auto include for me these days, the Cavalry's MSV2 Mark 12 in a duo with the Doctor. This little team can do a lot of classifieds, it can kill a lot of stuff, and is basically my smoke shooting option, because in my experience, Ramah Taskforce needs to utilize smoke shooting. It doesn't have that many modifiers otherwise on their shooting pieces. And yes, it's a 38-point piece, but it does so many things. And with the NCO, it can happily sit in group 2 and still have enough orders to at least usually kill one important thing per round. And maybe if that doesn't work out, do a classified, push some buttons with the Doctor. Yes. And then there's the Beast Hunter FTO to turn this into a Horus, because a 9-point linked mimetism Panzerfaust is just a great backup ARO piece. And also just something, if you have first turn, that you can leave in the midfield and make it your opponent's problem. And then there's just 2 Fanus to round out the list. And yeah, so you can see it's very hacking light. I basically just have one hacker to utilize my repeater bots. I just found that if I want to have the number of guns that I feel like I need, I cannot afford too many hackers. And so we're just running a bare bones hacking outfit here. All right. Then we have the Onyx contact force list. Firas came to my place, which was really nice of him. And he was like, well, he wrote 2 lists. One was named good but boring, and one is named bad but potentially funny. And lucky for me, he played the second one. He told me afterwards, the good but boring one is basically what you can expect from Onyx Norkias with a zero drawn and plasma snipers and stuff like that. And this one instead has no AROs, as you can see, which is, he admitted, kind of the reason he thought if he goes first, it's a good list, and if he goes second, it's a bad list, which will be relevant this game. And yeah, so if I remember the combat groups correctly, he has the Suryat HMG Lieutenant +1 order, just solo. In group 1, he has Bit and Kiss there, he has Kodali, and other than that, mostly just some stuff to fill out everything so it works. A Chain of Command EXO, Dr. Worm, stuff like that. And then in group 2 is his second kind of hard-hitting piece, or at least he wanted to try it out, which is a Vector operator with multi-marksman rifle in a Horus with 2 Void operators. When he deployed those, I asked him why he didn't choose the base operators, which are much cheaper, and the Void operators don't really do anything. And he was like, yeah, he only realized that after he had written the list. So next time, if he plays them at all again, he probably is going to switch to the base operators, so he has the points for some actual ARO pieces, but not in this list. And he told me he just wanted to try out the extra and see how they do. And then we have 2 Icadrons, 2 Imitrons, just to turn this into an 8-7 split. and see how it does. He told me he wanted Kodali to basically be a pacifist version of herself. She was just there to do as many classifieds as she can, which, spoiler alert, she would do. So we started the game, rolled off. I won the lieutenant role. I chose to go first simply because I didn't know what I was facing and I didn't want to endure an alpha strike from Nurkios, so I went first. And if you remember, Firas knew that if he didn't go first, his list was kind of bad, and this would show because basically he chose the right side of the table. I would deploy it on the left side, and he kind of just had the Suryat on a row, covering basically that middle corridor there. And he put his Horus behind the building on the lower side, and for some reason decided to put one of his void operators on the roof of a building where he thought I would not be able to see him. He did so, however, knowing that my Kavarish Horus was basically on the other side from them, since I deployed first. And he also knows that they have super jump. So he admitted afterwards that was a mistake, because just in case it's not clear, the extra don't share keywords, and so as soon as one of the void operators goes down, the vector loses his special die, and that would also be relevant. Yeah. Kodali was on the little building on the far upper corner, facing forward, which he also admitted was just a mistake he made because he plays so much Malifaux lately that he forgot that line of fire is important in Infinity. And everything else was just a little bit thrown around his deployment zone. But those were the most important pieces. I, like I said, had my Kavarish duo on the lower side, hiding just behind one of those signs on the ground floor, together with the Beast Hunter, and I had my Gulam Core with the Zayyadan on one of those middle crates, the Zayyadan being on ARO, everything else just standing in a way so that my Gulam could peek out from one of those upper crates and throw smoke wherever he needed to throw it. And then a little bit further up was my Janissary and Hortlock, and I reserved the Rafik because I wanted to know where his HVT was before I put her down, because she was my forward observer. And the classifieds that we drew were Predator, HVT identification, which means 2 forward observer or spotlight rolls against the HVT, net undermine, so just do a rip roll on the opponent's half of the table, and the one where you need to do a rip roll in zone of control of the HVT. So 3 HVT classifieds, which was honestly kind of easy, plus Predator. And then my secret classified was the one where you have to bring a doctor or paramedic in base to base with the HVT and do a whip +3 roll. And Firas's secret classified was sabotage, so put a decharge on a building in the opponent's half of the table. He docked 2 orders from me. We started the game, and I basically just decided that the piece that my Kavarish in Group 2 were supposed to kill this turn, it was the Suryat, since it was the only thing on ARO. So I threw smoke into the middle of the board with the Gulam, jumped up my Kavarish, took a shot against him, and made 1 wound. He managed to pass his religious roll and guts back into cover. And my Kavarish basically just jumped back from there. But in jumping back, they managed to see the void operator on top of that building. because that's what you're able to do with super jump. And so they just took a shot against them, and 1 wound is enough because it's an extra, and it went all the way off the board. And then they also managed to get line of sight to his flash pulse bot that was also on top of another building, and put her into unconscious as well. And then I basically parked the Kavarish Mark 12 on the bridge in the middle of the board with the Beast Hunter next to him, the Beast Hunter standing up in ARO, the Kavarish Mark 12 prone, and the doctor behind the little sign behind the bridge, also prone, just to keep him safe. And then my turn 2 was at first just moving the Rafik and the Beast Hunter and the Monstrucker forward, so that they would have cover, and mostly that the Rafik was just a little bit closer to the HVT. And then I brought in the Nahab on the upper side of the table next to the building where Kodali was on. In that same area where she was on the ground was one of the Ikadrons and Dr. Worm. And the Suryat from further up the board, or further up his deployment zone, also had a line of sight into that corridor. And one of the decoys of the Nahab appeared in a way that the Ikadron and the Suryat were able to shoot at it, so it went poof. And then the actual Nahab with his second order moved into line of sight of both of them and used his bang bomb to get away. Obviously, the bang bomb didn't work against the Ikadron's flamethrower, so I was rolling on a 13 there and on a 17 against the Suryat. And very luckily for me, I roll a 12, so I dodge both of them, and the Suryat rolls a 17. So I successfully, with my plus 2 inches dodge movement, dodge up the stairs where Kodali is on that building, and out of line of sight of both of them. And then I basically just walk up the stairs and shoot her in the back, and she dies because she didn't see me. And even then, it would have been unlikely for her to win that face-to-face with her SMG against my boarding shotgun, BS attack -3. But after I shot her with my boarding shotgun, I realized that the whole reason I brought the Nahab in was because I wanted to do Predator with him. And now I shot her, which was kind of stupid of me. But that's what I did. And with the last order in the group, I then just do a coordinated order with the Nahab and the Rafik, move the Rafik even further up, put the Nahab prone, because I forgot that in my previous order, and then try, because my Rafik just barely gets line of sight to his HVT from her forward position now, to do the identification check against the HVT, but I fail both discover rolls, because forward observer rolls, because forward observer is always just on a 0 range band and the HVT is in cover, so I'm rolling on 10s and I fail both. But that's where we stand. And so now it's Firas' first turn. He lost one of the void operators, which means his extra Haris is already kind of useless, because he doesn't have the special die. He lost the Flash Pulse bot. He lost Kodali. And Kodali is basically the most important piece, and the reason why I went after her, because it's his only hacker with Spotlight. Care now is a killer hacker. And he doesn't have a forward observer in the list, which means there is now one classified that he can't do, which is the Spotlight one, the identification check against the HVT. But he still tries to do as many classifieds as he can. He brings in Kodali on the other side of the board, out of line of sight of my Beast Hunter, and she basically just does 3 classifieds in a row, 2 of the public ones, and the sabotage one. She does net undermine. She does the one where you have to do a whip roll in zone of control of the HVT. And then he needs to at least take out a couple of pieces of mine. So he brings out the Suryat, shoots the Beast Hunter, puts her unconscious, then moves him up the building and shoots the Janissary, puts a wound on him. I guts back into cover, and then takes another shot against the Zayadan. That actually just happens at the end of the turn, but doesn't matter, and manages to put the Zayadan clearly off the board. With 2 hits, I fail both saves. She evaporates, and then after a lot of deliberation, what he wants to do, he does a couple of coordinated orders with the 2 remaining extra and Kodali, and super jumps them all the way across the board, with the Vector and Kodali ending up prone on the tower and one of the crates, and the Void with the heavy shotgun managing to walk all the way up on that bridge to get a face-to-face against my Kavarish out of cover, and the Kavarish Mark 12, and kills him as well. But he is left standing up there. So my second turn begins, and my group 2 is now basically just the Kavarish Doctor and the 2 Flash Pulse bots, which gives me 3 orders. And however, basically intact combat group 1. He didn't kill anything from there. And so I decide to leave the Kavarish in group 2, and with his 3 orders, basically just do 3 jumps. The first jump allows me to get line of sight on the unconscious Beast Hunter on the bridge, shoot a medikit at him, hit, and the Beast Hunter rolling in 18 and dying. It's okay, doesn't matter. I just jumped the Beast Hunter, the Kavarish Doctor, back around my deployment zone. In smoke, I threw smoke again with the Gulam, so I was safe from the Zuryat on the roof. And with my last 9-inch jump, end up in a corner across his HVT that, as we measure it, is actually just inside 8 inches, even though he thought it wasn't. And that allows me to do the classified where I have to do a whip roll with an elite troop or veteran, which Kavarish are, against his HVT. I make the roll, and so I have 2 of the public classifieds, and then I just roll around with my Nahab. I walk down back the stairs, I berserk into the Ikadron. I take a wound from Dr. Worm, who sees me as well, but I pass the saving roll against the flamethrower, luckily again on an 8, actually, it's a crit, and kill the Ikadron. And then I walk into CC with Dr. Worm and kill him too, and that gives me Predator. And then I walk up with my Rafik again and roll. I think it takes me 2 orders to get the 2 spotlights through, the 2 forward observers through, and that gives me identification check. And at that point, Spheros points out that I've won, because he has made his secret classified, which gives him 3 points, and he made 2 of the open classifieds. But even if he did the 3rd one, and he can only do 1 more, it would put him at 6 points max. And I am already at more classifieds than him, and I have made all 4 classifieds, which means I'm already at 7 points, and he cannot make more points than me now. So it's the end. It's the end of my second turn. He hasn't even played his second turn, but we call the game at that point because there's no way for him to win anymore, which means that for the first time in my life, at least, I have won a game against Firas, which feels like a huge accomplishment. But then again, he played, in my opinion, a very, let's say, handicapped list. And I also had a couple of lucky rolls, my bang bomb, making it through with my Nahab through those AROs. And then again, making a save against his flamethrower. And yeah, a little bit of stuff like that. there were a couple crits on his side as well. I think it was mostly a balanced game from the dice, but in the end, me being able to kill Bit and Kiss, to kill Bit in the first round, basically secured me the victory. And that's the battle report. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope this works together with the video. And I will, if this works and it looks kind of good, I'm gonna try and keep doing it this way from now on, because I feel it's probably more engaging than just listening to this. All right, have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.